great quotation once said, "If violence isn't solving your problem, you simply aren't using enough of it." Socket 7, here to dispel some of the myths about the MI-8's weapon system being difficult and confusing to use. The MI-8's weapon system is diverse and a little bit confusing, but with a little bit of practice, you can be very proficient at it, and you'll never have any problems ever again wondering what switches to throw. So today, on the outer stations of my helicopter, that's 1 and 6, I have a Gov pod loaded with a grenade launcher, the 30mm grenades. On stations 2 and 5, I have a Gov pod loaded with one 12.7mm machine gun and two 7.62mm machine guns. And on stations 3 and 4, I have rockets, 20 apiece. Now let's look inside and go through how to arm and fire all of these weapons. Alright, so now we're in our helicopter. We're going to power up our weapon system. It's the first thing that we need to do. We're going to do that with these circuit breakers here. Flip them all up. It's that easy. The next thing we have to do is make sure our rockets are armed. Push this button here. There is something weird going on with this button. I've seen them work sometimes, and then other times it doesn't work. I don't know if it's a bug or I'm just doing it wrong. If any of the Eagle Dynamics guys or the Belsim Tech guys see this, take a look at it and make sure that it's working right. Because I do believe that you push this button and it arms the rockets, but nothing ever happens up here, or sometimes it does and then sometimes it doesn't. I don't get it. Okay, so by default, what you have is rockets are your main selected weapon system. If you want to switch to the Gov pods, you have to go over here and turn this switch to here. And that will let you use the Gov pods, grenade launchers, or the gun pod. If you have it here, you are limited to rocket launchers and the UPK gun pod, which I do not have equipped right now. That's the other gun pod that's not the Gov gun pod. It's the easiest way to remember it. Down is rockets, up is the UPK gun pod, which we don't have equipped right now. And the middle here, PKT, is actually for, on some models of the MI-8, they have a machine gun mounted in the nose right here. So if we had that, that's what that switch would be for. But we don't have that, so we're going to have our switch down on rockets, because that's the only thing we have loaded right now. And right here is our control of what will fire. If we have this switched up, then stations 1, 2, 5, and 6 will fire, but stations 3 and 4 will not fire. If we have this down, then stations 3 and 4 will fire, but stations 1, 2, and 5, and 6 will not fire. If we have it set to auto, then rockets will fire from stations 1 and 2 and 5 and 6 first, and then when they're out of rockets, it will go to stations 3 and 4 and fire the rockets there. So for the most part, you just want to leave it to auto, and it will handle itself. This switch here tells you the ripple quantity of how many rockets will fire. If you want 4, if you want 8, if you want 16 to fire, switch this to 8. And, oh, what the hell, let's take off and find something to actually shoot at. Okay, so I'm going to get airborne here. And as you can see, I've got a sighting reticle. And you line that up on your target and forget that you turned off the master arm, or forgot to turn it on. I'm going to turn the master safety on. I'm going to line up on that poor, innocent, unsuspecting radar dish and miss it completely. Let's try this again. I'm a really bad shot, aren't I? There we go. Hey, I blew something up. Isn't that fun? Okay. But socket 7, you say? Rockets are boring. I want to use grenades. Okay, so how do we activate the gov pods? Well, again, I'm going to switch over to the gov pods by flipping this switch to here. And that goes, go and look at the navigator. This switch goes all the way clockwise till it says gun. If you have the stock cockpit, it's all in Cyrillic, that will say GUV. I am using DevRim's English cockpit mod for the MI-8. It is awesome. You can get it from the Eagle Dynamics website, and you should, because it makes things a lot easier to read, unless you read Russian. I don't, so English. Okay, so now that we have the GovPod switch set, all these switches no longer do anything. We're all using these switches down here. So this is a cutoff switch. This just says how long your burst fire will be. If you have it down, then you will, just as long as the trigger is held down, it will fire. If you have it up, you can set, you know, half a second, whatever you want. This here is the mode selector, like the rocket UPK and PKT gun selector and rocket selector switch up there. This is for the GovPod. It's the mode selector. With the setup that I have right now, it's very hard to pay attention to flying and narrate to you what I'm doing with the guns. Give me a second here to gather myself, stabilize myself in hover. Okay, what was I saying? Gov weapon pods, the mode switch. Okay, so when it's down and to the left like this, we are using the 12.7mm machine guns. That's the 12.7mm machine guns. If you want to use the 7.62mm machine guns, you switch it down and to the right. And you can see you're firing the 7.62mm machine guns. If you want to fire the grenade launcher, you flip it to up. And then you're firing the grenades. If you have only grenade launchers installed, the grenade launchers can go on stations 1 and 2 and, excuse me, what is it, 1 and 6 and 2 and 5. The machine gun pod, the Gov machine gun pod, can only go on the inner pylons, 2 and 5, I believe, right? Yes, 2 and 5. They can't go on 1 and 6. So, if you had only the grenade launchers plugged in, if you had 4 grenade launchers loaded, you would use this switch here, and that would allow you to switch between using, and the mode switch would allow you to switch between the inner grenade launchers, the outer grenade launchers, or all of them. We're not going to cover that today. So, if you have a mix of them, just remember, grenades, 12mm, 7.62. If you look up here, you can see this will tell you what weapon is currently being selected and how much ammo is left for each of it. So that's the 7.62 ammo. That is the 12.7mm machine gun ammo. And that is the grenade launcher ammo. Let's see if we can't blow something up with a grenade launcher. Let's do something very dangerous. It's not a recommended descent technique. try this at home. I got the job done. See if we can't blow up some stuff over there. I'm a terrible shot. Really, I am a terrible, terrible shot. You know why? I don't really normally use weapons. I am a hippie peacenik kind of guy who likes to carry freight around. I don't know. So I can't shoot for crap. I guess I'm okay with the rockets, and I'm okay with the machine guns. Those are actually relatively easy to use. But yeah, I'm a pretty bad shot. Well, I guess I'm okay with the machine guns. Not really. See, the problem is that nothing is shooting back at me when I'm doing this, right? Anyways, this is Socket 7, and that's how you use the weapon systems in the MI-8. Hope you've enjoyed the fun. I hope you learned something too. If you watched this entire video and didn't learn a damn thing,